Welcome back. Well, for this segment, we have two gentlemen on who you know both of. We have Officer Ray Scheidness with us with the California Highway Patrol out of the San Juan office, and we have Captain Steve Concialdi, who is now out of Ladera Ranch up there, that station up there. But what we're here talking about today is a program that has been put on for, I think, 25 years now. I put it down as the Mock DUI program. It's really much more involved than that. So first, good to have you both on. Steve, tell us just an overview of this program.
Well, back in 1989, I started doing slide presentations to some junior highs and high schools, and I got most of the pictures from CHP. There was Ken Daly was the PIO down there at the time, and the year before, when I graduated from high school, my senior project was a slide presentation on drinking and driving. So I did a lot of research, mainly with CHP. I was able to get some help from the Orange County Fire Department at the time, some photos. And so I did that at a number of schools, and then in the fall of 1990, I did a presentation to Santa Margarita High School. Well, the previous years, they had Mothers Against Drunk Driving come out and put a crash car with a display out there, and just the story of what had happened. And they said, can we do something different for before the prom? So I went back to the CHP and talked to Ken Daly, and we started brainstorming, and he'd recently got this video, and he pulled this video out, and we watched it, and it was just this cheesy play that was put on like in New Jersey somewhere. And I said, we could make that better. So bottom line, the first mock DUI crash ever in Orange County was in May of 1991 at Santa Margarita Catholic High School. CHP was involved, Orange County Fire Department, Medics Ambulance at the time, Mission Hospital. Mission Hospital helped us write, I went to them, they helped us write the script for it. Wow. And it was just, we pulled together Dan Young from Orange County Fire Department. He was our PIO at the time, had a silver tongue, he played the radio paramedic. So it's really grown from there, and it was on a dirt lot. They were still building part of Santa Margarita, so it was in the back of the school in this dirt lot, and it's just it's grown. Now we've done, we'll have our 97th one next month, and we've been doing this for 25 years.
And you started in high school.
Right, I did
basically.
Yeah, and so FAD, I started Friends Against Drinking and Driving as a nonprofit in 1989, and it's basically to pull all the agencies together, the Sheriff's Department, the ambulance companies, towing companies, Mission Hospital, CHP, just bringing everybody together to put these things on. And they're just an excellent program, because as you see, it's a horrific accident. The students are 20 to 30 feet away of a real life, and it's based on an accident that happened in the late 80s where some students were going to a winter formal dance, and 2 of them died and a number of them were seriously hurt, and it just a horrific accident, and we've recreated that.
And Ray, I remember back when I was in high school, back in the mid-'70s, we saw what was called red asphalt and all those, which was somewhat kind of like that. I mean, it was as cheesy as all get out, but I remember it. And they did have photos and video, well, not video back then, it would have been film, of actual crashes and things like that. It had to do with some drunk driving, but just in general. This is obviously a much more in-your-face version of what that was. And you're looking at these photos here, and it really does hit home, and I'll tell you why. 2 days ago, you probably know in Whittier, something like this happened, where they weren't coming from a prom. I don't know if you heard about this, but there were 5, 6 people, teenagers, in an SUV. The guy who was driving, 19 years old, so an adult, was driving, drinking and driving, and unfortunately, at least from what I heard 2 days ago, a 14-year-old girl lost her life. The SUV flipped, I think it was on Whittier Boulevard, and I looked at that, and they showed a picture of it, and I'm like, this is just like what I saw over at El Toro High School.
Right.
So it's just, it's chilling, it really is. So you guys get involved for obvious reasons. You've been involved all these years. You're the ones who quite often are rolling up to the scene first, right?
Right, and these reenactments, the program that we put on here with Steve, the every 15-minute program, is a 2-day program that the schools apply for with the state to get grant money to fund the whole project. And by putting this together, it brings the teachers, the school staff, the students, brings them all very close. And they work very closely with all of us to put together this reenactment. And it's a reenactment of a very real everyday event. I mean, we see these accidents, horrific accidents on a regular basis all over the state, all over the country, and of course even with our own community. And it's a great program to bring all these people together, especially at a young age, to let them know that this is the reality, that this is actually something that takes place. And we hope it won't be a part of anybody that's involved. We hope it won't be a part of their lives because it's such a horrific incident. But we certainly want people to be aware that this could happen, and these are the consequences of making a bad decision to drink and drive. Exactly.
And Steve, I know you've talked about an incident that happened, I think about a year and a half ago or something. And this was, of course, a group of kids coming home from the Knott's Berry Farm event. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, some of the kids just sort of hitched a ride with somebody. They said, oh, we need a ride home, and I don't even know if they knew everyone in the car. But it involved, I know Laguna Hills High School in San Juan, am I right? Tell us about
Right, and
that.
Capel High School. So it was coming home from Knott's Berry Farm. There were 6 teenagers in a BMW. And it was on the I-5 freeway, and 5 of those teenagers lost their lives when the car went up an embankment, overturned, and the driver survived. And it's still an ongoing case.
It is.
But it's just tragic because and I was the public information officer at the time, so I was intimately involved in a lot of that. But some of the parents thought their children were going home with somebody else.
Right.
And so it's just tragic, but we're trying to avoid those mistakes. So if the students that were watching this could learn from somebody else's mistakes and they don't have to go through that, because that ruined multiple families.
Yeah.
And just the loss of a child, it's devastating. And so we put these programs on, and it's really grown. We started with the mock DUI crash, and then the every 15-minute program came on a few years later based on the mock crash. That was the beginning of it, and it's a 2-day program that's outstanding because it brings the core group. It brings about 50 students together, so the living dead kids. So back then it represented every 15 minutes somebody lost their life or was seriously injured in a drinking and driving crash. And seatbelt laws, enforcement, cars are built better, so we don't have the fatalities as we used to, but we're still getting too many fatalities, too many serious injuries. And it's not just the drink and drive, and you could attest, it's the texting.
Right.
Distracted.
Yeah, you could almost change the name of this now.
Right,
Oh,
and we talk about that. We talk about don't drink or text and drive, and making the right decisions. So, and this one we had a female drunk driver, and Ray's probably arrested a number of females that have.
And this is, we have the emotional part that affects far more lives than one even thinks about.
Right.
But you have the legal aspect of this too.
That's right.
In that the driver, regardless of the age, this could affect them for the rest of their lives, right? Obviously, if they're an adult, they could look at I guess it's involuntary manslaughter or something.
Oh, sure.
But
absolutely.
I don't know, as a teen, they're still going to be arrested and be charged, right?
Oh, they're going to have legal implications for the rest of their lives. You're affecting so many different families, so many different people that that in this day and age, where there's so many lawsuits taking place, that that's certainly a recourse that these victim families are going to be looking to do, and the effects are just far-reaching. I mean, it's not just the people that are immediately involved in the scene. You've got so many family and friends that are, indirectly affected by such a traumatic event as a DUI crash, that people directly involved can expect to be dealing with the legal and financial implications of something like this for many, many, many years to follow.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things here to talk about is that, especially as they get to be 17, 18, teens are going to drink now and then. No matter how much we want to stop that or pretend it doesn't happen, let's face it, it happens. And the point is to, and this goes to the parents, and it goes to even the grandparents and great-grandparents here, to talk to them and say, you know what, it's better that we get mad at you for drinking at a party as we're picking you up and taking you home than not ever seeing you again, right?
That's right.
Exactly. We live in a social society where every event you go to, there's drinking involved. If it's a baseball game, if it's a retirement party, if it's a graduation party, just getting together with friends. And so it's really educating them to have a plan, to come up with another alternative than getting in the car with somebody that's been drinking or drinking and driving yourself. Nowadays with taxis, Ubers, calling a friend, it's much easier to come up with a plan than being involved in something like this.
And then trying to pick up the pieces afterwards.
Right. It's devastating, these accidents like that. And I believe we've made a significant increase in the dramatic decrease in the crashes.
Yeah.
But they still occur. People are going to make bad decisions. But I know this doesn't just affect the students out there. We've had many teachers, firefighters, police officers, administrators that have said, we're putting this thing on for the students. This is affecting us because we need to make the right decisions. We need to be a positive role model and not drink and drive ourselves.
Exactly. And one of the things when we were out there at El Toro that really was stunning was the fact that I don't know how many kids came out there, 300-400 were sitting along the street watching this. And it was silent, which is really hard. I mean, not even one person, you usually get some, smart ass that'll yell out something because it's part of nerves, to break the tension. That didn't even happen. It was incredible. And I know you've seen this before, where you go out to these high schools and these kids that are watching, that are not performing this, are just so involved with it and really take it at its face value.
The program is such a, it's so in your face, so to speak, and it's very realistic. It's as realistic as it could possibly be. I mean, you have wrecked cars at this, that are set up for the mock DUI crash. They're damaged. One of them's flipped upside down, and the firefighters come out and they cut the top off of it. I mean, they get the jaws of life out, and we have smoke, and it's a very, very real situation. And it may be the closest. Hopefully, it's the closest that any of these students and observers ever get during their lifetimes to such a situation like this, because we certainly don't want them to. The goal is to educate them to not end up in a real life situation like that. But the production is a very, very as realistic as it can possibly be, and there's a message. There's a message there about making the right decisions.
The students that you get to perform, for lack of a better term in this, the job that they do is phenomenal, because when you're watching some of them in the background, they are staying in character. It is incredible, and it's almost as if they become such a part of it, it begins to overwhelm them. They're like, wow, yes, we're performing, but we're feeling the gravity of the situation.
They really get involved, and you can see it on their looks on their faces. A mom comes in about 2/3 of the way into it when the truck company's trying to extricate one of the 17-year-old male in the back seat of one of the cars. And that's moving because she's asking, where's my son, where's my son? Because it's a chaotic scene, and we do that on purpose because there's a lot going on. But nowadays with texting, parents show up often at scenes.
Yes.
And so we're trying to control the emotions of the students, of the parents that are arriving, and that's real life. We get that daily at these accidents. But the students do a phenomenal job. A lot of them are actors and actresses for the school, but they really get into the role so much to every once in a while we have to calm them down. They hyperventilate, they get lightheaded and dizzy. We have to sit them down because they're so worked up. And we can't, this cannot become a real emergency now. Let's sit down, let's get some water. Sometimes we have to lay him down. But I know the student at El Toro, the one in the back seat, he was really nervous. He was back there. He got so much in his role. He was calling out for his mom, Mom, help me, I'm trapped. I have no feeling below my waist. I'm scared. I mean that, and then, I'm right here, son. And
there's the tears on some of the participants. They're real. they get so emotionally wrapped up in the gravity of the situation, and it's such a reality-based program that you'll even see the students in the audience, and even a lot of the adult staff at the school.
Yeah.
They're sitting there with Kleenex and they're dabbing their eyes. It's moving.
And
emotionally.
speaking of the staff at the school, I know El Toro High School has been involved with this for years, as other high schools, and it takes a lot of effort from the staff of the school.
It does,
Right. So Catherine Scheidler, she's the activities director. She's retiring this year. So the first one that I dealt with her was in 2000, so for 16 years. And she does a phenomenal job. And she starts planning at the very beginning of the year, actually the year before, to pick the date.
Right.
And then she'll call me and say, okay, what day works for you in April? And then we plan it around, and because we got to make sure there's not spring break and there's not
Right.
other things going on with the department, and then she does a great job.
And she's calling you about October, the
Right.
year before, for April the following
Right.
year.
So and then we
there's-
start meeting in the fall
right.
for these. So there's
Wow.
it just, you don't just throw these things together. It's a lot, but it's the relationships with CHP, the Orange County Sheriff's Department, Mission Hospital, Orange County Fire Authority, O'Connor Mortuary,
Right.
the towing companies, S&K
Yeah.
Towing this year, Quality Towing, the ambulance companies, Care Ambulance,
Yeah.
medics and Doctors Ambulance who've been in the area for years.
Right.
They've all worked together.
Even the tip
And
volunteers.
then tip
The
volunteers.
tip volunteers.
Oh,
And tomorrow, by the way, we're going to have Larry Kurtz on.
Right.
And he is going to bring on one of the tip volunteers. So
Great.
we're
And
going to
it's
go over that aspect of it tomorrow.
great training for the tip volunteers,
Yeah.
because I think TIP's been around for over 20 years or
Yeah,
so.
it's-
They've been with us since the beginning as a training grounds for their volunteers.
Yeah, well, it's amazing.
Yeah, they're integral.
And this is going to be kept up next year, right, as well?
Yeah,
as
so we
long
have
as
our
you can.
97th coming May 13th at Capital Valley High School, and then we have 4 or 5 planned for next year as well.
Wow.
It keeps going.
Yeah, it really does. I know it's throughout the state, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so it's something that...
And the country.
In the country.
Right.
And it's really grown. It's a really phenomenal program, and I commend you two and everyone else over the years who's been involved with this. We're talking about the schools, and as you said, Mission Hospital and Care Ambulance and O'Connor Mortuary, all this, because when you're there watching it, everyone is within their role as if it's really happening, right to the point they take a patient to the hospital, and I think the trauma unit at Mission Hospital, they sort of get practice
Yes.
on this as if it's real. So it's taken all the way. Listen, we're running out of time. I want to thank you both for coming on. And I know we'll see you back here at least once when you
That's right.
introduce the new PIO, and I'm sure we'll see you back here again sometime.
Thank you, Ken.
And folks, we're going to bring you that segment probably in a week or two. We're still kind of putting it together, but it is really, it really gets you when you watch it. Hey, listen, we're running out of time, and so we will see you tomorrow. Like I said, the weather today, a little cool out there, a little cloudy. I think any kind of chance of drizzle is gone, and then tomorrow we'll have a little partly cloudy skies, but overall kind of mild weather, heating up probably around Sunday or Monday. So we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.